Bonjour and welcome, viewers and students, to Let's Speak French, Parlons Français. These lessons on basic French are short and easy. And if you follow the program regularly, I can guarantee you that very soon you will be able to speak and understand French quite easily. Today we are going to begin the 4th chapter of the program. This chapter has been divided into 5 lessons. Today's class will be on French negation. This lesson has been divided into 3 sections. In the first section, I will explain the concept of negation in the French language. In the second section, we'll learn a few different sentence structures that express negation. And in the third section, I'll provide a text to revise what we learned in today's class. In this lesson, I will introduce you to more words related to hobbies. In English, making negative sentences is pretty straightforward. You simply add the word don't before the verb. For example, you dance becomes you don't dance. I listen to music becomes I don't listen to music. She likes doing sports becomes she doesn't like doing sports. In French, making negative sentences is a little more complex. What complicates it is the fact that French negation is always composed of 2 words, and these 2 words are never placed side by side. Naturally, this pair of negative words is not randomly inserted in a sentence. So if you understand where to insert the negation, making negative sentences in French will be as easy as pie. So, to make negative sentences in French, it is important to begin by first locating the verb. Similar to English, the French negation is also connected to the verb. That is why it is necessary to pin down the verb. Once you have spotted the verb, insert it between the pair of negative words. In French, there are different types of negation. What I mean by this is that there are various negative word pairs that express negation in French. We'll examine a few of them in today's lesson. But to begin, let's first understand simple negation. In French, the word pair that indicates simple negation is ne pas. So to make a negative sentence in French, simply insert the verb between ne and pas. In light of this information, let's examine the above sentences. Tu danses, which means you dance, is an affirmative sentence. To turn this sentence into a negative one, we insert ne before the verb and pas after the verb. And here we have the negative sentence. Tu ne danses pas. As you see, the verb danse is placed between the word pair that indicates simple negation. Now let's look at the next sentence. I listen to music. In French, this sentence is j'écoute la musique. Once we identify the verb, we insert ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since the verb begins with a vowel, the phenomenon of elision must be respected. So we remove the letter E from the word ne and replace it with an apostrophe. So the negative form in French reads as Je n'écoute pas la musique. Now let's look at the third sentence. She likes doing sports every weekend. Translates as Elle aime faire du sport chaque weekend. In this sentence, there are 2 verbs, aime and faire. When a sentence has 2 verbs, it's the first verb that should be placed between the word pair that indicates negation. So we insert ne before the verb aime and pas after the same verb. And this is how we transform the sentence into the negative form. Elle n'aime pas faire du sport chaque weekend. Again, the phenomenon of elision takes place because the first verb, aimer, begins with a vowel. The rest of the sentence, including the second verb, remains unchanged. Before we continue to the next section, let me bring to your attention one important thing regarding the article in a negative sentence. The indefinite articles and the partitive articles change to the in the negative form. Let me illustrate this concept. In the French sentence, Je prends du lait avec mon café, which means I take milk with my coffee, the word lait is preceded by the masculine partitive article. If we simply insert the word pair that expresses the negation, the sentence would be Je ne prends pas du lait avec mon café. This sentence is incorrect. The correct sentence would be Je ne prends pas de lait avec mon café. The partitive article du must change to the in the negative form. This rule applies to all partitive articles du, de la, de, L' and des. Let me illustrate this with examples. Nous commandons de la bière, which means we order some beer, becomes nous ne commandons pas de bière in the negative form. She prefers drinking distilled water translates as Elle préfère boire de l'eau distillée. In the negative form, the French sentence would be Elle ne préfère pas boire d'eau distillée. J'ajoute des fraises dans la confiture, which means I add strawberries in the jam, becomes Je n'ajoute pas de fraises dans la confiture. So this was a quick introduction to the simple negative in French. In the next section, we'll look at a few more forms of negation that exist in the French language. In French, there are many different structures for expressing the negation. We'll examine a few of them today, because it will not be possible to cover all of them in one lesson. All the expressions of negation are composed of two words. The first element that composes these word pairs is the same. It's the second element that varies. Let's begin with ne point and ne guère. These two word pairs are used in the same way as ne pas. Vous arrosez les plantes tous les jours? Non, je n'arrose point les plantes tous les jours. Do you water the plants every day? No, I don't water the plants every day. Elle visite souvent sa famille? Non, elle ne visite guère sa famille. Does she often visit her family? No, she hardly visits her family. In both the sentences, the verbs are located between the word pair. Ne point and ne guère both mean negation, but there is a slight difference in meaning between them and ne pas. Ne guère can imply never or scarcely, while the implication of ne point is slightly archaic and used mostly in literature. Let me repeat the two negative sentences. Non, je n'arrose point les plantes tous les jours. Non, elle ne visite guère sa famille. Next, we'll examine a few structures of negation that express varying degrees of negation. The nuances of these expressions depend on the second composing element. Let's begin with ne plus. Vous jouez du piano? Non, je ne joue plus du piano. In English, this sentence translates as Do you play the piano? No, I don't play the piano anymore. If we use ne pas here, the sentence non, je ne joue pas du piano still expresses negation, but the meaning is slightly different. Je ne joue pas du piano implies I don't play the piano because I probably don't know how to play the instrument. But in the sentence je ne joue plus du piano, it's very clear that the speaker knows how to play the instrument but has stopped playing it for some unknown reason. Let me repeat the two negative sentences. Je ne joue pas du piano and je ne joue plus du piano. Now let's look at ne rien. Il mange des tartines le matin? Non, il ne mange rien le matin. In English, this sentence translates as do they eat bread in the morning? No, they don't eat anything in the morning. The tricky thing about this word pair is that it can be used only with transitive verbs. Transitive verbs are those that require an object. If the verb does not have an object, one can still make a negative sentence, but the word pair ne rien cannot be used in this situation. In this sentence, manger is a transitive verb and the object of this verb is tartine. Let me make another sentence with a transitive verb. Yvonne achète un maillot de bain de la boutique. Yvonne buys a swimsuit from the store. The verb acheter is a transitive verb because it has an object. What does Yvonne buy from the store? She buys a swimsuit. Since this verb has an object, it is possible to transform this sentence into the negative using the ne rien structure. Yvonne n'achète rien de la boutique. Yvonne doesn't buy anything from the store. Now let me show you how ne rien cannot be applied to an intransitive verb. Pendant les vacances, je voyage beaucoup. During the holidays, I travel a lot. You can no doubt convert this affirmative sentence into a negative sentence. For example, pendant les vacances, je ne voyage pas beaucoup, or pendant les vacances, je ne voyage guère. Both times, the meaning is slightly different, but the two negative sentences are grammatically correct. During the holidays, I don't travel a lot, or during the holidays, I rarely travel. But you can never use the word pair ne rien in this sentence because the verb voyager is an intransitive verb that does not have an object. So if you say pendant les vacances, je ne voyage rien, the sentence does not make any sense whatsoever. Let me repeat the four negative sentences. Il ne mange rien le matin. Yvonne n'achète rien de la boutique. Pendant les vacances, je ne voyage pas beaucoup. And pendant les vacances, je ne voyage guère. Next, let's examine ne personne. This structure is similar to ne rien. Both are used only with transitive verbs. But what contrasts them is that the object is always a person in the sentence that has ne personne structure. Let me illustrate this. Tu vois quelqu'un? Non, je ne vois personne. The English translation is, do you see anybody? No, I don't see anyone. Now let's examine ne jamais. Vous fumez? Non, je ne fume jamais. The English translation of this sentence is, do you smoke? No, I never smoke. In this sentence, the speaker makes it very clear that he never smoked before. This meaning is absent in the simple negation. Je ne fume pas. Now let's look at ne aucun or ne aucune. These two structures of negation are the same, but one uses ne aucun when a masculine noun follows the second element of the word pair, and ne aucune when a feminine noun follows it. Let me explain with examples. Je ne connais aucune comédienne française translates as I don't know any French actress. In the sentence, aucune is an adjective that modifies the feminine noun comédienne. If we were to replace comédienne with comédien, the sentence would be Je ne connais aucun comédien français. I don't know any French actor. As you can see, aucun agrees in gender with comédien. So these are a few basic structures of negation in French. Like in English, these structures have different meanings, but all of them indicate negation. Some of them can be interchanged, while others can be used only in a specific context. In the third section, we will revise what we learned in today's lesson on French negation. Here's a short text with different structures of negation. I'll first read the French version, then I'll read its English translation. Depuis qu'il a raté son examen, Thomas n'aime rien. Ça fait 2 semaines qu'il reste enfermé dans sa chambre. Il ne va plus à l'université. Il ne voit personne. Il ne fait rien. Il ne travaille pas. Il n'étudie pas. Il ne parle guère de son examen. Ses parents ne savent point que faire. Leur fils ne voit plus ses amis. Il ne sort plus en ville. Thomas ne répond à aucun mail et ne répond jamais au téléphone. Tout le monde s'inquiète. Now here's the English translation of the text. Since he failed the exam, Thomas doesn't like anything. It's been 2 weeks that he hasn't come out of his room. He doesn't go to the university anymore. He doesn't meet anyone. He does nothing. He doesn't work. He doesn't study. He never speaks about the exam. His parents don't know what to do. Their son doesn't see any of his friends anymore. He doesn't go out anymore. Thomas doesn't reply to any mail and never answers the phone. Everyone is worried. With this, we come to the end of our second lesson of chapter 4. This lesson was divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we learned about the simple negation of the French language. In the second part, we examined a few more structures of negation. And finally, in the third part, we summarized today's lesson by studying a text. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In the next class, we'll learn the present tense conjugation of second group verbs. I hope to see you in the next class. Thank you. À bientôt. See you soon.